What's the most memorable piece of advice your grandparents ever gave you? My grandparents lived in a small, weathered house on the edge of town, the kind of place that smelled like wood smoke and old books. I spent a lot of my childhood there, summers and holidays, wandering between their kitchen and the garden, soaking in the quiet rhythms of their days. They weren't the kind of grandparents who handed out easy answers or sugar-coated truths. Their advice came in stories, gestures, and moments that lingered long after the words were spoken. One of the most memorable pieces of advice came from my grandfather, a man who worked with his hands and spoke sparingly. He didn't waste words, but when he did, it was worth holding on to. I was about 16, caught in the usual teenage swirl of confusion and ambition, feeling like the world was pressing down on me with expectations I wasn't sure I could meet. I was sitting with him in the backyard one late afternoon. The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across the grass, and he was carving a piece of wood with a small knife. His fingers moved with practiced ease, the shavings curling off the blade like delicate ribbons. Without looking up, he said something that caught me off guard. "Life's got a way of breaking you down," he said, "but it's what you build back that counts." I frowned, not sure what he meant. He paused, set the knife down, and finally looked at me with those steady eyes that seemed to see everything. "It's easy to get knocked around," he continued, "but what you do with those pieces, that's what shapes you. Don't let the hard parts make you bitter. Use them to build something better." I sat there, the words settling in like seeds planted in fertile ground. It wasn't advice about success or ambition. It was about resilience, about what happens after things fall apart. Over the years, I'd come back to that moment more times than I could count. When I failed a test, when friendships fell apart, when life threw curveballs I didn't expect. The image of him quietly carving that piece of wood stayed with me, a reminder that even broken things can be shaped into something new. My grandmother had her own way of teaching. She was the storyteller, weaving lessons into tales of family history and small acts of kindness. One story she told often was about her own mother, who had lived through war and hardship, but still found reasons to laugh and love. She'd say, "Strength isn't loud. Sometimes it's just quiet courage." It was in the way she tended her garden, the way she listened without judgment, and the way she held family together with patience and grace. Those lessons from my grandparents weren't flashy or easy to sum up in a sentence. They were lived, breathed, and passed down in the everyday moments. Their advice shaped the way I see the world, not as a place that breaks you, but one that challenges you to build something meaningful from the pieces. It's not the kind of advice that fits on a card or a poster, but it's the kind that stays with you, quietly guiding you through the hardest parts of life.